to order. We do have a quorum. I do expect Barb to be available a little bit later. She's just running behind. First off, we need to have approval of our March 2nd minutes. Does everybody
I can't do my own
agree
minutes,
with
guys,
that?
you got to do that.
I approve the minutes.
I second it.
Handshake.
Okay, we'll consider that approved. And I just wanted to give a quick mention of our liaison report. The liaisons came through our club a few weeks ago, and actually the feedback I got from them was fabulous. They were so impressed with how many different items were being made and the attitudes of the people here, and they were impressed with people like Gianna, who got up and was helping newbies. This was on Wednesday when they came through, and we're all trying that little class. They were just really impressed, and I had heard that we were actually probably one of the favorite clubs of all that they visited, so there we go. I think that's pretty good.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
I love it.
And the treasurer report, we're gonna have to hold off on because that is Barb Sloan and she is going to be late today. So we'll just add that a little later in the agenda. So we'll go to committee reports, but a couple of changes to committee reports. Education is going to do a presentation on Persizio. So I'd like to move that to the end of the agenda so that we don't have them cramped for time there. And also publicity will be added. Jude has some information for us regarding emails. So we'll start off with membership. Lori, do you have anything to?
I really don't. The membership's pretty much coming to a close. We've got almost everybody signed up, and the lockers I've been given out, and they're about complete too. So, other than our new class members who want lockers, and then we're getting that all going with monitor classes too.
Very good.
How many new, or what's our count now with registration, do you know? I guesstimate, like 310-ish?
Probably more than that by now,
Okay.
320 or 325, because we have had a couple new classes
Oh,
that
perfect.
I signed
Wonderful.
up, so.
Great.
That's always good to hear. Okay, Deb, social.
Social, we have our big party tomorrow, our spring picnic. All's good, everything's ordered, lots and lots of people have picked up little drawings for the horses, for our horse race, so
Oh,
that's
fun.
gonna be fun to see how that works out. So we have, I think, 70-ish people coming to the party, so that should be good. I think we'll have a grand time. A little
Wow.
different from the last party where we were cold, now we're gonna be toasty.
Yes, we do. And boy, those numbers grew. I didn't realize there were so
I
many
know.
coming. That's great.
I know, so,
Deb, do you still want Mark to bring his game, his cornhole thing this week?
yes,
I know it is Ohio State, but.
yeah,
Okay,
well,
we'll
forgive you.
change that.
we're gonna have referees out in case there's any conflict.
Alright, I'll tell him to bring it.
Yeah, that would
He
be
heard
great.
something about another one bringing Michigan, and he thought, he just don't want to.
Were you gonna bring one?
I do have one too, yes.
And who's you?
Mine is not a state, it is
Okay.
a flag, so we
Oh, so
cover
you-
everybody.
I'll
Okay. That
And
would be
actually,
great.
Debbie, I actually have one too if you need another one, and it is nothing, so that could go like right.
Okay, that'd be great, that'll give us 3, so that would be great, you
Yeah,
guys.
Mark likes it, it's Ohio State.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Okay, that'd be great, thank you so much, you guys. Yeah, so we're all set, have a great social team. They're all very, very excited about everything, so we're good.
Wonderful. Do you wanna go ahead and cover maybe the kilns and blazes, and it's a few minutes to.
Okay, Georgie, who's our kiln chairman, could not be here today. She's doing kilns, so she's a busy girl. So this is just her update. Finally, the long-awaited element delivery on March 18th. Kiln number 2 is back in service. And we also have a second set of elements for a backup. And another order has been placed for an additional 2 sets of elements. The in-service with Dean from Marjan that was scheduled for March has been rescheduled for April 7th. And the draft of the kiln loading guidelines have been shared with the team, and feedback's been positive on that one. Then from our little Miss Michelle from Education sent me this morning. We have a fabulous new librarian, Christine Deal, who is updating inventory of books, organizing them for easy find, and planning book features for mud times, etc. for you, Miss Jude. But she was wondering if we could get rid of some of the books we have major duplicates of, and just the duplicates, not updated ones. The library is actually quite crowded, and we have donation of more books to add to it. Maybe they could be sold for a few dollars, money for more books, or you could give her a decision and direction on this. So she has jumped in and taken initiative to make the library more known and used. I am excited to have some fabulous things. So, do we need, are we good with? Yeah, I'll move that we give Christine, authority to get rid of, to put aside the duplicate books, and maybe we could sell them at the silent auction. Put them in for a buck or something.
Okay,
Yeah, that's second.
Okay, anybody?
Okay, motion by Deb. Seconded by?
Me.
There needs to be discussion.
Do we have any, well, other than what Deb just said?
Yeah, because these are on the inventory.
Okay,
So you can't just sell them, give them away, they're on the inventory.
the books are in.
Every book, every magazine got put on the inventory. It's on the bottom, I don't know why, but it's there,
So we are open for discussion.
Yep, so that's the discussion.
I'm fine with, having the duplicates, put in our silent auction. That'll just give us some more stuff to put in silent auction.
I get that, but
We can't do that.
you have to identify which books are duplicates. You have to have a list. All the books are on the inventory.
Well,
So-
she'll get that when she does the duplicates. She takes them off. I mean, she'll just make a list.
Okay,
Can she do
providing,
Okay.
Yeah, she needs to list which books are duplicates.
Okay,
Okay.
Christine will do that.
And then that needs to go to the rec center for approval to take something off the inventory.
Okay,
And so Christine can identify.
okay, got it. I can get with quite a beer. Not a beer.
okay, so we will do the footwork on that and then
Okay.
go to the rec center, just get approval. I'm sure that won't be a problem.
Okay.
Okay, Deb, were you, not, sorry, Barb, are you prepared also?
Yep.
Okay.
These can
Glazing?
go,
What about
Pass
glazing?
around?
well, we'll go back. I have one extra, but it's supposed to go on a bulletin board, so,
I'll keep mine on the board.
okay. Does anybody that's visiting need a copy of the financials? All right, the financials, we do this fun colored thing, that comes with, QuickBooks, that's for those who are not inclined or do not know how to read a financial report. It makes it a little bit, easier to review. You'll see that there's a negative $1,200 on there for the month of March. There's multiple reasons why that's there. First is that we found the invoice, the paid invoice, for the rec center to paint this room, so that's not part of it. But we had a member who had signed up for beginning wheel in 2019, and we closed the club for COVID, and so she finally realized she had never been reimbursed, so we had to pay her back. And then there's a major snafu in the month of March with an invoice from Marjan that came in on the 3rd for the special order red velvet clay. And then they sent another invoice with a different invoice number, because QuickBooks will catch it if you duplicate the invoice, but they added a couple of other things. and I guess it was the balance of the red velvet clay, but it was the same total. So we now have a $1,735 credit with Marjan, so.
We got that red velvet from Marjan this year?
Well,
We didn't get that.
well, maybe it's not the red velvet, it was a clay order for
Okay.
$1,735 or $38, so that's what throws that off. But we also had to change on the recommendation of the CPA, because we were doing a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet. We are not a for-profit organization, so now it's been modified in QuickBooks, and it is now a statement of financial position, that's your second page, and that's what's the good old-fashioned balance sheet. And so this does not reflect, it does reflect, I'm sorry. It does reflect that we moved money from checking into savings, into the equipment savings account to bring that up and try to not float more than $10,000 in the checking account. Then you go to any questions on that balance sheet yet? Okay, go to the next page, which is statement of activity, which is actually your legitimate profit and loss statement. And so you can go through there and you'll see that where the clay sales are, the green fire stickers, the orange fire stickers. We did about $4,500, $4,560 in monitor sales. They're really slowing down now because people are getting ready to leave. Membership, we had another $990 to final kind of roll out the late ones and stuff like that. And then education, we had some class fees. And then you go all the way down, you'll see all the total education expenses. And then turn the next page, you'll see equipment repairs. That's the coils and stuff that Mike Beal's been doing. And so general expenses should hold fairly steady right now because we have a whole backlog. We have extra ones. Then you'll see the social expense in there for the happy hour. They did really well on that. And so you'll see the net operating or equipment revenue, and that reflects, even though it doesn't reflect the full 1,738 as a negative number because we had other income against it. So that's the statement of activity for the month. One of the things that is on the treasurer's side of the house that is creating some issues is the fact that when people want to be refunded their money, we just had one, how many times did we go back on the fourth on the phone last night? Somebody who canceled their class, the check got put up there, the teacher put in their payment for the full amount. I was like, no, I know I took that check back up there for that person, but it didn't get crossed off the list. And so now the teacher wants to be paid their full amount, and it was like, no, because that person's money got reimbursed to them, but it didn't get crossed off the list. And so you have to make an arbitrary decision of, so that's an issue. But as far as the treasurer's report on that, I do have some updated information from the CPA on the IRS thing. We can wait till we get to that, but I don't have anything more than that.
Okay, yeah, if you want to continue with closing, that would be great.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Barb.
Glazing, the only thing that I talked with Linda Johnson yesterday, and we're still waiting on a couple of glazes that have been on back order for months and months and months. Evidently when Spice's house was cleared out, they found some Chino glazes. So, we've not used Chino glazes in our club before, so those will be a really fun new thing to use. So Linda's gonna get those mixed up for us. So, Chinos can be kind of fun, so.
And we don't know that they have any problems with the kilns or anything, right?
Oh, no, these are legit.
Okay.
Usually Shino doesn't run, does it?
I don't think so. They're kind of cool. So she was excited to get that done. I think everything else is going okay. I didn't hear any scuttlebutt from anybody about the fire brick red as of late. So it must, who's ever using it must be being careful and doing a nice job with it.
there has been no, blaze sales from Monitor Station anymore.
It
That's,
should not be.
I know, but it was still happening, it's still.
So you haven't seen any come through for a while, okay?
I think you're the one who's gonna catch it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, even though we crossed off that thing when Merle made new sheets, there isn't a thing for Club Blaze to buy Club Blaze anymore, so
They were dropping it under,
special orders or something.
yes.
Those
Creative.
sneaky little monitors.
Creative monitoring, yes.
I think if you look at the pricing, it's on the pricing though, and so, you know, unless that's a mental note for them, maybe we just need to take it off the pricing sheet that's up there, is there a couple
It is on.
places?
It is on the pricing sheet?
No.
I thought it was the monitor station it was.
Oh, we'll have to check that
On
out.
that daily report form, Gianna?
No, not on
No,
that,
just
just
the one that
on what
stands
we
up.
sell.
I'm the
Oh,
last.
good call,
The
thank
one
you.
that stands up?
We'll cross that off. The, yeah, okay.
Very good.
Okay.
Note to self for that one.
Jude, for publicity and media, whatever.
First thing is that there will be a new article in Sun City West Club News about Clay Club inmates already, been sent in. And I just sent an article yesterday to the Independent about the library display and included the two photos that Barb had sent to, not Barb, Sue had sent to me. So those have happened. The radio station, KSCW,
Yeah,
they are ready to stop the PSA, the public service announcement. Now, we have options. We can ask them to continue it over the summer, or we can ask them to hold it and then restart it in the fall. So would like to know what you would like to do. My opinion would be, I would stop it and then start it again in the fall, but.
we don't pay for that, do we?
We do not, oh, no, no. It's a free service.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's up to you, whatever you wanna do. I just need to let them know.
Do we have a limited time, is that?
It's 90 days at a time, but in this particular email, they will clearly extend it. I do not know about future emails,
Okay.
so.
Thoughts?
what do you-
I say stand it down for the summer.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Are you working with Gary Cohen over there?
No, there's a woman I work with, and I sent it actually to Steve Hotfeld.
Okay, well, they're there too, but they're looking for people to interview in the community, who, like Sue Freeze would be amazing for them to interview based on her horses and stuff like that.
And I offered that, I actually told them that in my original email to them when we first got started. Do you want me to send it again and say we've got people that they can?
Well, Gary Cohen is the contact, let me get you his contact information, because they're doing interviews with some of our swimmers who are going, who are in their 90s going to nationals, so they're always looking for people to interview,
Okay,
Very good.
okay?
Anything else, Jude? Did you have something on the email?
I'm sorry.
Did you have something on email that you?
Oh, I
wanted
do,
to-
yes, on email. I actually went through the process of what it takes to transfer from, because I do everything on Mac, it's transferred to a PC, and I have 4 pages of notes of what needs to be done in order to do that process every single time. The exception being if I send only a text, that I can sit down and it'll probably only be a page and a half, okay? I'm looking into MailChimp. I can do what I wanna do in MailChimp, it'll do what I want it to do. The one caveat I have so far is, and it may be because of the test audience, I used a few people and tested it. The problem is that I have to avoid spam.
Yes.
And I have filled out all their information, but I sent it again, and it came to me not in spam, but it came back to me in my promotions tab rather than my regular tab. So that is something I'm still working on. It is currently free. It's free for 30 days. It can be free for longer. We missed some of the services that they do offer, but I would like to continue testing this until we get it going. And I just don't want to involve the whole club until I'm confident that when I send it out, everyone's gonna get it, cause I don't need 327 emails coming back to me. So, I may need to sit down with somebody who knows a little bit more about the backstory on, MailChimp, and that might be Bob, but maybe not, I don't know. But anyway,
It is, I understand why it's doing that.
and I understand why it's doing that too. We can actually use our membership list, I can actually switch it over to the right file that they need. But I haven't done a beta test on that yet, we'll see. But I'm still hopeful that it will still work. And then I don't have to take that Toshiba laptop home with me.
Great, sounds like a good thing for you and Barb to maybe have a
Yeah,
conversation.
so maybe one more,
But are you
Second
gonna,
conversation on it.
so are you gonna discuss if we jump to the next level, what that costs the club per month?
we can do that, it's $11 a month if we jump to the next level. There's a limit on the number of emails. That is the problem. You get 10, we would get roughly 10 emails a month at the $11 level.
That you can send out?
That I can send, right, that I can send out. And then there's overcharges over that. And they nicely do not tell you what those overcharges will be. And the next level is 17, and that gets us $17 a month, that gets us 12 emails a month.
With as many people as you want per email.
Under 500 contacts, yeah. With the free one though, you get 2,000 contacts, and I think you get 10,000 emails a month. That's the free one. So,
But the only rub on the free one, as we discussed, is that she doesn't have access to all the templates and all that kind of stuff, so it
And
depends on.
I'm not sure I need that. I was able to put
I
together.
did.
Cause I have another program that I
Okay.
can actually just drop it in. It's a JPEG, I can drop it in
Okay.
any format, JPEG. So I'm not sure I actually need that. Now, the next person might need it.
And they do charge by month, they do not
Yes.
bill out annually, so they charge month by month, so you can, discontinue.
Drop it at any
You
time.
can,
Right.
you can stand it down,
Yes.
yeah.
So are you looking for our thoughts on you continuing the research on this?
Yes, I am looking at, for free right now, I'm not quite ready to say we need to jump up to a next level personally. Unless they tell me that the email won't work,
Yeah, I think that sounds like a great idea.
so.
To just continue with.
So are you looking at anything else?
I looked at several things, and this is probably the most affordable.
Yeah.
Gmail business was not an option at all.
Okay.
Oh, that didn't work out.
It was $6 per address.
Wow.
That might not be an option.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, so.
Good.
Okay.
Anyway, but MailChimp seems to be very doable.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Well, we want you to be able to do it easily,
Right, whether
Because-
there's 2 pages.
because you're not getting the big bucks.
Yeah, well, my poor husband.
Margie?
Well, the rec center highly recommended that to us at the end of the year last year. There might be somebody over there that could help you with a couple of these things, but I don't know. It was Phil. And I forget
It might be,
his last
Oh,
John.
D, starts with a D,
Yeah, I
to
don't
here.
know.
No, it's,
They say they use it.
No,
so I
it's
don't
the,
know.
it's the, that married couple, what is their last name?
But we can research it.
McCloskey or something like
I'm just
that.
saying, the rec center highly recommended it because of
Okay.
this, so I don't know whether that.
A lot of clubs are using it.
Okay, great, thank you, Jude.
Thank you so much.
VP reports, Deb, do you have anything to report?
Couple of things, I don't know if these would be new business. I've had a couple of inquiries about people that are assisting teachers, and should they get service hour credit for assisting the teachers? They're not getting paid, they're just assisting. Do we want to have that be a service hour project? Probably need some thoughts on
Somebody
that.
a motion to talk about that, or
Okay, so
make a motion we discuss?
so I move, can we discuss letting helpers receive service hours for assisting instructors?
I second it for discussion.
How many teachers, Deb? How many teachers are we, how many people
My biggest concern is that if we have, and I'm not saying no, I'm not disagreeing with it, but I'm
Yeah,
just
I don't
saying.
know how I feel yet.
My
either,
biggest
so.
concern is, how are we doing for monitors? I mean, we have offered a lot of different options this year, and my concern is that we keep doing this, then we don't have monitor coverage, and that's priority one. And
Yeah, it needs to be. How are we looking on that, Lori?
Yeah,
It's hard to tell.
I mean, so far, it's been so busy and people need to get their monitor hours in before they leave, which is soon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how it's gonna come up, I am really not sure how that's gonna pan out either.
But there's some adjustment we need to talk about too, because with the seasonal residents leaving, do we need to have 3 days a week of staying open till 8 o'clock at night and stuff like that? But then
That's not what we're talking about now.
well, but it still impacts monitors, it still impacts the number of monitors.
What do you think, Merle?
I think the first thing we probably should do is sit down and look at the data and see how many people are currently, have like, I can't remember, what is it? Norma, I need the word, that are on the list of exemptions.
Yes, there we go.
Sorry, thank you, you got it. So I think we should look at exemptions, look at what we have and what the potential is to fill what we need, and that probably would give us more information in terms of.
Because we know from moving forward, if we say a launch date for this, we know how many monitor hours we have to cover versus how many people are still available to cover monitors.
But what we don't know is how many people have exemption.
That's right, that's
So
right.
that's
Do
what I
have all the
suggested.
committees provided the exemption?
Pardon me?
Have all the committees provided their exemption lists? Kilns, Glaze?
Pretty much, and we have now the record with the service hours on the
We
computer
should be able to print
check.
that out and see who else is doing
Right.
it. Yeah, that's quite a few things that we do need to look at.
And see, I
Yeah.
think that, like, all of a sudden, there were 6 openings for this month. 4 of them are filled. I had put a note on the door, someone took it down, I don't know who or why. Hoping that as people came in the door, if they needed it, they would, do it. The monitor yesterday was kind enough to make a bunch of phone calls to people who were looking for, and so we got a couple that way. And then just asked and got somebody that way, but, next month is pretty open.
Yeah, and I know when you did it, you had a list of people willing to be called,
Right,
and you
do we
go,
still have that?
no.
And see, that's,
Well, a lot of it is through the I don't know yet, because maybe I.
Yeah, we just had a list.
No,
Yeah, we had a list of people who were like myself and you or whoever would be called at the last minute.
Yeah.
So you didn't drop the ball, there wasn't a ball to drop.
Yeah, because when we
No.
redid into the new computer system, it was, or the, Sign Up Genius, then we really didn't use the other part of it then.
so it sounds like we need to have a little committee to maybe do some research here to see if
So,
that's.
yeah, because I know that there would be people willing to be called and.
Oh,
so,
yeah, I just.
You know, I know
Oh,
there
there
was.
was, yeah, there was a lot.
No, we're not, but go ahead.
Oh,
That I'm allowed to?
yes, yes.
I hate to see the club completely close down or pull back over this summer, because I'm a person who's here. And I know a lot of others are that way. And I think if it's, just a suggestion, if it's presented to the group that we have lost and we need people to step up, I know I would be willing to step up. And even though I'm exempt, I would definitely step up to monitoring. I don't mind monitoring.
What happened to
So maybe-
Lori yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, I'm just saying, I don't know if that would help.
Lori put something into the Mud Times, no one responded to it, am I correct?
Right, not in a way that I could,
Wasn't that for legal?
Make a list, so,
well,
and the other thing we
Yeah,
have to
That's
think
two different
about
things we're talking about.
is we have to think about June before we put that calendar up, so that we don't wind up with a problem. Isn't the club gonna be closed for a while in June?
We haven't been notified that we're gonna be closed in June.
So just to put it out there, it's something, we're gonna need to know before everybody fills up, and then that'll turn into another, that'll turn
Again,
into a
I
fiasco.
think this needs to be a side, committee, or you guys will.
it kinda does, yeah.
You know what,
Okay.
it really,
Okay.
it's probably,
I mean, Debbie and I usually sat down and figured it out at the beginning of the year, so it's probably like I'll do it and I'll give you the information.
Well, we'll sit down.
It's really easy to do, Lori.
I think
Okay.
some of the summer people just forget.
I told you I'd
That,
help
you know,
you.
it's different.
I told you I'd help you.
I know.
Okay, guys, we need to move on. So, what I'm hearing then is we will do a side committee.
Yeah.
That works, and forward, you're all good with that? Consensus, yes, okay.
Excuse me,
Then Lori.
I have a
will you-
motion there's a motion on the floor,
Okay.
on second.
Well, it's still tabled then.
Well, that's what I wanted to know, we're tabling it until the side committee takes over
Yes,
and decides, okay.
we'll be tabled. Thank you for that. Thanks for keeping me straight, Deb.
One more thing, we've had so many people that are furious about the back gate being locked. Not being, okay, so that's, okay,
Yeah, no, and you can add any discussion.
okay, thank you.
Okay, and Lori, do you have any other updates?
I don't think so, those were the main things,
Okay.
monitor situation.
Okay. Yeah, then actually is the next thing on the docket here is, the security fencing, we've got all the paperwork in now to the construction folks. They haven't given us a solid timeline, but they said sometime June, July period that they'll be looking at putting the extension on top of our wall, so that's safer. Now,
Do we know how tall that is?
yes, it's 30 inches.
30 inches, okay.
And, that brings the next item that Deb was talking about is the security gate. And it being locked all the time is an issue. So, do we have a motion for discussion on this, or?
May I ask a question? When you say
Yes.
security gate locked all the time, you don't mean,
I
so
don't
we can't
mean
get out?
padlock, I mean
You
shut,
get out,
and
you
they
just-
are not going to use
it's
it.
not
as
Just
a
making
lock.
sure.
It's
Just
used
making
right
sure.
now for emergencies only, and the
Yeah.
reason that decision, my understanding, was made was to keep from theft and personal safety. We have a lot of people in here, especially right now when we're open until 8 o'clock. It's very easy for these unexpected people who seem to be kind of wandering through our area to jump up from the road to our back door is just a few steps, and that's a little bit concerning. Now, we are looking at, security cameras also, and hopefully we'll have something next month regarding that. But, I guess the question is this the right thing to do?
Well, it was always established, when we put the lock on it, we were told that it was to be an emergency exit, because there was no exit at the back of the building. So if there's a fire or everything caves in here, that's the only way to get out. It was never intended to be an entrance exit, because what was happening was people were coming in, they weren't signing in that they were in the club. The clay was back here, so they could come right in the back and take clay and all kinds of stuff. And so we were told what kind of lock to put on it and all that kind of stuff, and what needed to be welded to the fence, so that they couldn't reach over and do it. And the biggest thing that was the concern is that we have members in here at night, and this campus is hit the hardest by the homeless population, because they come right up Beardsley, they live down in that wash, and they've had a lot of incidents here on this campus, especially after dark. And I have to tell you, I don't know how many times I've come by here in the evening, and that gate is wide open, and it scares the crap out of me. And I will see a car parked there, come around, come in, and say, who's back here? I get the point that some people can't carry their stuff all the way out to their car. We have carts and all that kind of stuff, so they wanna drive their car in, and they wanna offload their car, but what happens is, they come in, they park their car, they come around, they open the gate, their car's still parked there, they leave the gate wide open, anybody can come in and out residents come back and they're like, well, I don't wanna do that. Okay, well, we don't have a lot of teeth to be able to,
I really don't think it's a matter of us wanting to have control or be mean about locking people out. I think it's more a concern of safety.
Safety issue.
I think that there may be some people with special needs that may need help from a monitor or someone else in the club to help them loading or
but they
unloading.
need, to me, they need to let somebody know they're at the back gate, let the monitor know, so the monitor can go make sure the gate's closed.
Exactly.
When I walk in and it's wide open back there, the first thing I say to the monitor, do you know that the back gate's wide open?
No. No,
Because nobody's told them, or
well, they have no
nobody's.
control
Yeah,
over it.
nobody's gone back there, and hopefully with security cameras, we're kind of looking at some that we can have up front so the monitor can see, hey, somebody went out the back gate and left
Right.
it open. So that will help some too, but at this minute, I think it's, in my opinion, it's a security issue, I guess, board, I'm looking for.
It is a security issue. You know what, it's gonna happen, it's just a matter of time. How many times have we gotten stuff stolen, compressors? And I
Two
mean,
compressors we've had stolen.
in a year.
Well, and that's why we're putting the higher fence, so
That's
that
right.
can happen, so if you're letting the gate be opened and there
There
you
is
go.
much fence.
Not gonna do any good with
No.
the fence.
Yes, Jude, I go over to Coons Pool, they actually have on their fence, they have an exit from the pool area, and it says,
Yep.
emergency exit, alarm will sound. And if you actually have to get out, when you push it, alarm will go off. And I don't know what kind of a lock they recommended you put on there, but I thought, well, that's perfect, because if an alarm goes off, someone's gonna pay attention, and it would be locked all the time. And I don't know about you, but unless it's an emergency, I would be loath to push open that gate.
Cause it's really high pitched. One of the problems was that what, they told us when we put it's like a pool gate lock, you have to pull up on it, is that to change to that kind of lock, we have to change the whole gate, cause the gate isn't sturdy enough to do, not
crash
that,
bar
but the
thing,
panic
yeah.
bar.
Yeah.
So if we wanna do that, if we wanna change that whole gate and get a price on that, and, because I don't think, number one, when we get the bars, I don't think that gate's even tall enough, they're still gonna be able to get over that gate.
Right, well, I know that they are redoing the gate somewhat. They're going to put sheeting on the outside of the gate, cause today,
And you
people
can
are
reach
able
through.
to step up and
Right.
reach over.
Yeah,
So their intent was to secure the gate as well,
right.
so.
Well, that might be something we look at to have it priced out. What would it take to put the appropriate kind of alarmed, thing back there? Do we have to buy a whole new gate and?
It does have to be able to be opened at least once a week for Michael from Marshon.
Yeah.
Well, but you
to
can
deliver,
turn
so
that
you
lock
can turn
off.
off the,
You can turn that alarm off. Yeah, it's just a key.
that might be a good thing to check into then.
I don't know if we've said loud enough to the club though, the security issue.
I think that we'll
I
reiterate
think that
that
until
in our
there's an
membership
issue,
meeting.
how many of us remember when the homeless guys did the smash and grab in all the vending machines a year ago, or 2 years ago, whatever it was?
Oh, and I was up here one night where there were a couple of people on bikes that were just drugged up and.
Yep.
And that was at night.
We'll
Yes.
make it a point in our next membership meeting to discuss this and bring it
Yeah.
forward. I think that's important for everyone to understand.
Might we think about doing something with monitoring to lock that, especially during the winter, to lock that back door earlier? Just a thought.
The back door and the gate?
But we
Well, I'm
can't-
talking
you can't-
about-
you can't-
I'm talking about the back door,
You can't.
because the monitors are concerned being up here when there's not a lot of people out there.
We can't do that because
Okay.
if you have an emergency, then you're locked in.
See, again, and they talked to us about that, about changing the hardware on that back door as well, cause it's a deadbolt. So if we did a panic push bar on the back door, the same the same way where you push to go out, but once you're out, you can't get back in unless you lock it down. I think it's the same thing. I think that deadbolt lock is the issue, because while you have people in this building, you cannot lock that. Well, you can, but you shouldn't.
Right, yeah, that's close to.
We used to, a couple of years ago, I always had the monitors after like 6 o'clock at night. Make sure, put the padlock back.
Lock the gate.
Lock the gate.
When it gets dark, yeah, during the
Yeah.
winter.
But that's still that's considered an emergency exit, and you really can't do that.
Yeah.
But I'd sure hate to see something happen on this front side and people can't get out that back gate.
I really like the idea of, the panic bar, whoever was saying that.
I think it's, it's gonna be our responsibility to fix it and remedy the situation. And we're gonna have to pick up the expense, and we all know how much fun that is to go to the general membership if it's over a certain amount of money.
Well, let's price it out
Yeah.
and see what's involved in that.
break
because
it up
Sure seems like that
break it
would
up
be a
to our
better
limit.
way. Thank you for the suggestions,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay, next item is Irs Tax Status, which Margie has been working diligently for us. Do you have any updates?
Another letter. Now said he thinks we have another letter.
Okay.
We received 2 letters from him within the last 30 days regarding, we're working on it, give us another 90 days.
Oh, boy.
So, we keep working on it, but, the only difference between this letter and the one we received about a month ago, I forget what it was this is referencing our 990 form, and the other one was referencing the 990 PF, which was public foundation.
Oh.
Which was incorrectly filed.
Yeah.
And then I refiled the taxes for 2020, so with an updated 990. And this is what they're referencing.
So then they're recognizing that they got that?
Well, yeah, they verbally recognized it to me,
Okay.
they did recognize it in this letter, but they are saying they still need time to look at it. I still will call around the 15th, because we're on April 20th, we're at the end of the last 90-day renewal.
Yes.
The whole purpose of those 90 days is want to keep the bill that they say we owe them from the 990 PF.
Yes.
And we're not a PF, which is public foundation, so in my opinion, we don't owe that money, but they've got to recognize that. The only reason I keep calling is if, as long as, if for some reason we don't call them and get that extension, verbally commitment, then it goes into collections, and then that becomes a problem.
It's already been triggered. The CPA said it's already been triggered.
What, the collection?
Yeah, I need a copy of that. They called me and said, can we push the taxes out? You can do corporate taxes aren't due till May 15th.
Right.
And so they're not gonna have them ready by April 15th, because every time they try to file, it tilts a whirl and says you owe that money.
Well, see, and that I don't understand, because we've already received the letter, and I believe you have a copy of it.
Yeah, I do.
It
They have
says-
that.
They
Yeah.
show us as a 501c7, which
Right.
would not be a PF.
Right.
But if you have anything in writing, I need to tell these people this when I call them, Barb.
Yeah, well,
That we're
sounds
getting,
a lot
our
like the
CPA is not able to file this, what do we need to do? Because they are requiring all nonprofits to file electronically, and if it's kicking that out,
well, she asked for whatever correspondence we have, and she just called me and said that they're not gonna be ready because they can't push the button and send it without saying that they're committed to the, what is it, $2,300 or something like that. So I need a copy of that, and then they are more than willing to start communicating with the IRS, but right now they can't file, so they're trying to solve that problem. So if you can get me a copy of that, after the meeting, I'll drop it off at the CPA's office.
yeah, and I can give you a copy of the other one, because this one is relating to the 990, the other one
I
is
know.
99, but I don't have that with me, so I'll scan it.
I might have you.
All right,
I have it at home, I just don't
Yeah.
have it with me.
okay.
But,
They'll have more time to work on it after the 15th to trace down all of this. Cause see, when you refile the 990
correct form. The other one's still out there, unresolved.
I understand, but see, I've had a person, and I'll go back to my records and indicate this person told me this was, let me go back and check my file.
All right, appreciate it, thank you,
But I
Margie.
wasn't aware of this, and I've been trying to communicate with these people on a regular basis so that we don't get crosswise with them, and this gets gone into collection, so I'll continue to do that.
All right, thank you. Next item is the auction. We had an auction for the kiln and for the roller. And the kiln we had priced at $12,000, the roller was, or excuse me, $1,200.
Wow.
It has
That's
diamonds and jewels and, it's quite a kiln, yeah. For $1,200, and we got no response, which is kind of surprising. But the roller we did sell, and so that has made its way to its happy little home now. And the kiln, I guess we will be going outside now for sales. I've been told of a couple of different places to take a look, and we can have more discussion on the side regarding that, where to put it out.
I just have a question.
Yes,
What goes with that kiln?
it has,
It does not have furniture.
it doesn't have furniture, it has everything else. All the electronics are there.
Yeah, but it's a different.
It's
kind of
240 AC.
Yeah.
So it's wired up for a home power, not for what we have here.
Doesn't have shelves?
It does not have shelves.
That's called,
the furniture.
that's called kiln furniture, and it doesn't have any of that.
And did it when we first got it?
No.
It was donated to us, it was gifted to us.
I believe it was.
That it had
There
shelves.
had some shelves and it had some.
My husband helped move it.
Some, little.
Yeah, a lot.
I thought that's what I had heard too. I thought I had heard that the shelves had
But
gone into
what
our
they,
stock.
we were in need of still, the shelves at
Oh,
that time, so we put them in our inventory.
So do you know how many shelves came with it originally?
I'd have to go back.
I mean, that's a huge expense.
There was a lot of equipment with it, and it had stilts and shelves and Mark helped move it. And he just, asked,
Yeah.
if we absorb that, or where is that? Does that go with the
We
kiln?
absorbed it is what my understanding is.
So it's in our inventory?
And we did that with the intention that we were gonna, because we were told that we were gonna be able to use it, and we
Yeah.
went ahead and put it in, rather than let that sit with the kiln, we did not anticipate having to sell it, so. But it doesn't have the furniture, but that furniture to buy, it may be expensive, but it's still a whole lot cheaper than buying that kiln, because that kiln, the retail value on it's about $3,500.
I think that was a grand idea to use what we had.
To answer,
Oh, we did get furniture.
that's the question, yes, but it was from the donation issue, kiln furniture, but.
Understood? We're good here? Okay, next topic is monitor station. That is scheduled for sometime this summer. They're being a little bit elusive on that. July to September is what they're saying. And we will be scheduling a meeting with Carl to discuss a few minor changes that are made and.
But it's not gonna impact the cost. In fact,
Right.
make the cost go down.
Right. It seems pretty minor what's going on, so we'll be holding that meeting with him and discussing final items and.
Well, based on what Merle said about, wondering if we were gonna be closed in June, possibly for construction, I think the sooner we can speak with Carl, the better, just to get a kind of a thumbnail of,
Right, he originally was saying June, and he did change that to possibly May, so I'll get in touch with him, see if we can get on his calendar.
okay.
Oh, for a meeting.
For a meeting.
Oh.
Yeah,
No, they can't
they
start it,
can't
cause
start it.
I
next
didn't think
year's,
so.
it's next year's budget.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that would be good.
But he originally said, at least for, demo, the possibility the club would have to be closed for 2 weeks.
Yeah, he originally said that when we first talked to him, then didn't he come back and say, we might be able to work around,
Well,
so
if
you
we
guys can
can,
keep it open.
Yeah, if we can isolate they'll come in really early in the morning to demo, and we would have to relocate all the, the computer sign-in stuff to to that other side.
Now, there was, I'm hoping that we can keep it open, or at least part of it, or if we can have access, cause I know you and I have talked before, and Merle and a couple of other people have talked about inventorying, getting kind of a hold on what we've got, and so we can see what's actually coming in and out, coming and leaving, and keeping tabs on that. So you know through sales what was there and what is there, and does it balance if we take an inventory? Wouldn't that be a pretty good time to consider looking at those items? And not talking about a full inventory here again, like you do at the end of the year, but just like, the clay and the items that we sell, that kind of
Well,
thing.
see, and that's why we kinda need to get an idea of when, because we've gotta stand Mary Ann down on ordering clay, we've gotta get, you gotta get, especially if the club is closed. The other thing is, there won't be, that, we won't have access to any of the, cause they're adding electrical along that wall, so we won't have access. We've gotta move all that computer equipment out of there, to the other side, if you're gonna allow people to come in and do hand building.
Well,
We've been closed before.
Even
when
if
we've
we
done
can,
stuff.
even if we can just open this room to a few of us that might wanna be working in it or something. But we can, I will schedule that meeting with Carl, and,
Okay.
so we can get on his docket and get that taken care of. And hopefully, by then, he'll have an idea of if and when we will be closed, and how long.
He kept saying June and July, this is the first time I've heard September.
Yeah, he told me July to September.
We need a little bit better
Better than
time
that.
frame than-
Exactly, and we should be
Well,
able to get that in
yeah.
May, so.
And he originally discussed it with us to do it over the summer when we had less members here,
That's right.
so.
Okay, so, I did add one piece, to new business. Deb had been approached just before the meeting, and, there was a question of our past protected internet. We had a member who's interested in having that. They're afraid of malware on their telephones if they are an unprotected internet. I don't know that we want to do that. My understanding, that it is protected right now because it protects our computers, our printers, and all of that, so just certain people have that protected internet.
Are you talking about, huh?
Which one are they talking about?
Yeah, which one are you talking about?
Or the rec centers?
The one that we have to put in to use the computer, or the printers.
She doesn't want to use.
She doesn't
her
want the
phone.
unprotected internet.
And she thinks
I
we should
think-
have unprotected up
and
here
Clay
that's
Club.
available for anybody to use.
My response was, I
Rec
think
center.
we would have to,
The rec center has given us that.
But the rec centers is not a secure,
it's not protected.
it's not protected for malware and all that kind of stuff. The one that when you walk in the room and your phone picks it up,
I think it is.
So the question
I
is,
think that's why we can't do anything with the, router up there.
Clay Club used to have their own internet, and then.
We
then-
do.
I know, but it's gone down really, really small, so, because before they put all the Wi-Fi stuff on this campus, you couldn't pick up the rec center one. And so now anybody can pick up on the rec center one, but there were a lot of people that had access to the
Right.
club's internet before, and now it's very, very limited, and everybody else can go onto the rec center. When you get on this campus, any campus I go on, it pops right up on my phone.
yeah,
And
you're
it
right,
was-
Barb, it does say Clay Club is the protected one,
Yes,
and that it's rec center that is open.
Right.
And so, I'm not sure, you don't have to have a password for rec center.
for the rec
Just for
center, you
Clay
just
Club.
have to accept their terms.
Right.
But to me, why does somebody need to come up here and have a protected? Number one, it's an expense to the club to have that. Linda and I have been, renewing everything, and putting it on one account, credit card account versus everybody having it on different ones. And it's not cheap.
Right.
It's not cheap, why,
And we did have that discussion that, I was kind of guessing at least for, residential might even be $40 to $50, and with being a business,
but let's
Might be more.
raise everybody's dues to cover it.
well, I think it was just a question of, why can't I have that password? And my understanding is it would give them access to things that they shouldn't have access to.
No.
And what it would give them access to is pub database.
Yeah.
It would give
don't
them
wanna do that.
access
Yeah.
to printers, what printers are.
And I'll go back to
Yeah,
this
printers
person with that information, I think she will understand that.
And I think maybe we should check with the rec center and see what the protection is on, because I do believe that there is some level of protection on there, I could be wrong.
There
But
is,
I think
yeah,
that's why
there's,
we,
yeah.
before Lynn, we were plugged into that with our computer system.
Oh, okay. So would that be Katie?
Katie O'Grady, yes.
No, I don't think you need to go to Katie, I think they know down at the office here.
Oh, Tim or,
Because they gave us a list of things that were and were not allowable, and I passed that on to Linda. And I don't remember everything that was
Okay.
on there, but part of it was, it followed the system up there.
okay,
Or it was networked.
perfect, thank you very much.
I'm
Judy.
confused. Why does this person not buy their own malware software on their own device?
Well, everybody can
That's
do,
what
you can do
everybody-
that, I know.
Just take Wi-Fi on your phone and. you've
Then
got-
she can buy it for her phone. I mean, I get an email every so often from the person, and she has bought this system called Avast, A-B-A-S-T. I don't know what it is, but we don't have that.
It's
But
Okay,
every
well, I will-
email at the bottom says that. I mean, it's like, go out and buy your own.
I will follow up on that with the rec center, and, I will give, this lady an answer of, that it gives access to records we can't share. And to finalize our meeting, I'm sorry it's gone so long today, it was not intended to be so long, we're going to have a presentation from Arlie for Precisio.
Okay. I had wanted to be able to put it all up on the TV, and I can't do that, so what I can put up is photographs of what I've taken. So I wanted to show you what the art club is doing first, so you get kind of an idea of what we're talking about. Okay. On the art club's homepage. The difference is gonna be that on the iPads, I could scroll it and you'd be able to see everything. This is gonna be a little more difficult. I can enlarge it. Alright, it looks good, really. Okay,
That's good.
alright, that's their homepage. And then you've got, three little lines, and you can click on that, and you can go to classes if you want to. Come on. Keep them. This is just briefly, a brief description of which classes are available. Up here you've got date, category, and that kind of stuff. Under category, they can do things in different colors so that somebody wants to just look for wheels.
Oh, I like that.
Color we can do, there's just lots of different things that we can do.
What do we hit?
With the three little.
And here, what?
Classes. Yeah.
What we hit?
We did, and it didn't come up like this. See, then,
Okay.
Oh,
I just wasn't gonna make
that's fine.
54 pictures.
That's quite all right.
Okay. And then they'll give you, put it on a calendar.
You don't project
Oh,
loudly, and I'm afraid nobody's gonna hear you. and
I'm
maybe
sorry.
I could help back here. I'm just afraid,
Okay.
from the standpoint of,
okay, cool. This gives us a whole lot of options that we don't have right now with Sign Up Genius. Sign Up Genius has lots of little problems with it.
It also designates whether it's a class or a workshop. And
Right.
what day it's on.
Yeah, and you can give,
Teacher price.
I can only get part of the picture, but you can tell what the dates, the price, all this kind of stuff, and then a description, a photo and a description, and we can put more photos on there as well. We can,
So Arlie, this gives you guys a lot more,
That's nice.
a lot more space, or I don't know the terminology, to put more stuff on, to put more information than we actually can do on
Right.
Sign Up
but
Genius,
even
right?
better than that, is the information that you can get back from them. Like, for instance, when someone signs up for a class, the teacher will get a list that says, okay, this person has signed up, this person has signed up. Then we can go back with data, we can go back and say, okay, how many people this year took this particular class?
Oh, wow.
How many people did, there's just a whole bunch of different things that we can get that we couldn't get any other way.
Okay.
And that would be
if-
helpful.
If I could add, that if there's a class that, say there's 4 classes in a month, if you could only take 3 of them, then you just sign up for the 3 you can take. You don't have to check the one that you can't be there for. So you don't have to you can sign up for the whole month, but you can leave that one class out.
Well, most of our classes don't run that way, but
But the
it's
nice
an
thing,
option.
the nice thing is that it will tell you how many seats are available.
Right,
Yeah.
And nobody has to come down to the club, nobody has to track that at the club.
And it does say a wait list, once enough people have signed up that hits that, then you can add your name to a wait list for this class, which doesn't mean that it carries on indefinitely, it just means that if somebody cancels, then you would be notified.
You're right, I guess the wheel classes would be the only ones, or the hand building, but if you know you can't make something, then you wouldn't have to pay for it. Would we do that with Lake Club too? No, we pay.
Not the way we're doing it at the
Yeah.
moment, you know, you pay $75 for a class
Right.
for wheel throwing, whatever, and so we don't break that down into different weeks.
So this allows you to sign up and pay with your Visa card.
Any credit card.
And I know we were doing some research on, do the banks charge any additional
No,
charges? for
Chase,
that?
there's no charge with Chase, there's no transaction fee because we have a performance business account, so.
Good.
Yay!
That's really
Okay.
Something's positive.
So
I
basically,
just don't know who did, but they were brilliant.
okay, I'm gonna tell you all that. The other thing that we can do with it is to do all of our, when people re-register for the year, or membership
membership,
meetings,
I
stuff
know.
like that. It will go through them in terms of the, pay. Now, costs for course IVO, basically, they do not charge, they don't charge a fee and they don't charge a basic monthly fee. What they charge is, they say the first 50 transactions are free of charge on a month-to-month basis. So, if we have 49 people sign up for a class, on that month, we don't pay anything. If we have 53 people sign up, we're gonna pay $5.30.
And then does that go in to classes and registration? Will that
Yes, it
add
will.
up?
The registration
total?
will add,
Okay.
because,
And another thing I was thinking, could we do, like, if it looks like it's gonna cost a lot to register, like, say, January 1st, everybody registers.
Right.
Could you put like, Bun through D or something for this month, and then, like, if you find that it's gonna be way too expensive or not? Does that make, yeah,
That makes sense, yeah.
we could do that, we could set it up any way we want to.
that would probably make a
A
big
through
mess.
D is what you're saying, A through D.
Yeah.
register
Take you
now and-
4
But it's still, that would
It
take maybe
takes
4
4 months to clear membership.
Yeah, and
That
you're
would be-
right, that's what I was
That's
thinking
too
too,
long.
Barb, after.
It's 10
I
cents
resign,
apiece, so
I'm
it's
done,
not-
I'm out of here.
But we could
Yeah.
start membership the 15th of this month and end it the 15th of next month, then it
And then
spans.
split it, yep.
Might split it up. might
Well,
help
that
a
was
little
just
bit.
an idea, but you're right, 10 cents is nothing.
Yeah, it's not.
And it's
registration, and I don't wanna do that. After I said it, Barb,
It's all right.
it spilled out, it
sounded-
was like, that was a good idea in my head, and that's a good idea out my mouth.
All right.
Been there, done
You
that.
have to verbalize it sometimes.
Yes, you do, yes, you do.
We can also,
Okay.
if we need to, raise membership dues.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Arlene's numbers, you can't pass this on, the cost of this on to the club, it has to be passed on to the member. This is a cost of doing business, but I have a question. We are now faced with teachers have to fill out a W-9, teachers have to fill out a CR-8, and has to be approved by the rec center to be paid a check out of our checking account. How do you build in the classes for the teachers that refuse to sign a W-9 and want to do a donation instead of that? You can't run that through this.
Nope, you can't.
Oh,
I don't know how.
I see what you mean.
Well,
You
same
know,
way we're
that's
doing it
still
now.
sign
up.
I
Yeah,
mean, if
They
that
can.
is, if they.
How do they sign up though?
In a book.
they can still sign up on Corsizio.
But they can't
Everything
pay.
that we-
There's just no
There's no
charge.
payment.
Yeah, they're not getting money for
There
it,
is
it
no
won't make any
charge,
difference.
right.
No
And you
payment,
can
no
set
charge.
it up as a donation, so you can,
No,
They don't
No
care.
charge.
they won't pay through there. Can we turn them off so they can't pay
That's
through
my
there? So they
question.
come in and give cash, because we want no record of.
well, somebody has to build the fee. When you input the class, you input the fee. So that when they pay, they know that that's the fee. As you build your classes in Corsizio, so somehow you have to put a 0, and I don't know if there's an ability to do notes to say, recommended donation is, or whatever.
I would imagine we could do that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
hoping.
But there has been classes in the back. Debbie, you've given them on the GR forms.
Yeah.
It's a big class. There's no fee. It's 0. But we all signed up so she knew
Right.
who was coming.
And we can do that here.
Just in the description of the class, this is a donation class, donations accepted,
Yep.
or something, whatever we decide to do it with.
I just thought it would be great, because I'm back in Illinois, and a lot of times when I
Okay,
come, some of those
Alright.
special classes are already
Okay.
filled up, because I'm not here physically to bring my money, so.
That's
I
one
was-
of the big advantages to this.
I was like, okay, great, I can get my foot in the door when I'm shopping at the Bed to get out here in October, you know, so, just think of that population.
And even beyond that, if you're at home and you wanna sign up for something, you know, I hear a lot of people say,
Yeah.
wait a minute, you know, I can't get it in until Thursday, but then when I get here, it's already full.
It's already full.
So, it makes it,
Oh, and then you're gonna
makes
be
it
the
more
ones
equal
that
to
don't do the
everyone.
computers, and, you know, so it's gonna go back and forth, you know,
That's the way it goes.
it's just. what
Yeah, it is. If you don't like computers, then you run that risk.
Mhm.
okay, so if people are signing up and it's not where we're charging a fee, then it's not gonna cost us anything other than possibly the 10 cents over 50.
Okay.
Okay, if
Like
people are
that.
using credit cards, Corsizio charges $1 per transaction, doesn't matter what the transaction amount is. Okay, then, Corsizio uses a company called Stripe, and they process the, payments. They charge 2.9% per transaction. So, for example, if the class fee is $15, the processing fee would be 44 cents. $1 for two Corsizio transactions, so it's $16.44 is what would be the actual cost of that class, of that $15 class. Okay? If it's, beginning hand building is $135, the 2.9% would be $3.92 plus $1 transaction fee, so they would, that would be $139.92. Now, when we've talked about the different ways we could go. We can, Corsizio can be set up so that we just charge a flat fee for the class. And then we'll worry about all the rest of it. Or you can say to the people, okay, here, this is what it's gonna actually cost you, and it'll figure out for each one. I think it's probably less confusing to up, that's what the art club did, they just upped it $3. I think that's a good thing for us to do, and then,
My thought is that, yeah, that is really something something we should seriously look at, I think, because if we look at raising our membership fees, then the whole membership's paying for something that the whole membership isn't using. Because not all of the membership is are going to join classes. A lot of people do. But my thought is that if I'm gonna take a class and it costs X dollars, I'm gonna pay X dollars for that class, and that takes care of the cost. So if everybody in the membership does decide to do that, then they're paying for it as they do that.
I think they should pay it on their own credit. We're all used to getting a charge on your credit card.
Yeah.
We did it for lunch today on our way home. You know, they charged us a processing fee on my credit card.
Yeah.
The restaurant didn't have to claim that money, we had to. Right?
But you can build, if an average class right now is $15, and so we go to Corsizio and it takes it up to $16.40, you can already build that into Corsizio to cover all the transaction fees. And I think we just announced at a general membership meeting, we're doing this. There is a end user cost and it's built into, so $15 class is now $16.44 or whatever. If we just say we're gonna raise everybody's class fee by $3, unfortunately, that's financially, it's not gonna cover across the board for like beginning hand building. If you have 72 students, we average per year in there, and that actual transaction cost is almost $5. Now we're losing 72 times $2 that the club's gonna pick up. No, we need to pass that on to the end user. Yes, no?
So can't you like your $15 average class fee, rather than that class fee $15, is just average, because basically the instructor's getting the $15.
Right.
So rather than advertising the class as 15, it's 17. And
Well,
17 or 18, and that covers the difference for.
or whatever.
Beginning hand building or whatever.
But beginning hand building, it instead of 139, or instead of 135, it can be 140, because we know 139.92 is the actual cost, or 142, or whatever.
With Corsizio, is anybody gonna be able to access that? Are we gonna have people who are not members of the club, or is there a way?
No, it's to be able to get in it, people will be registered members. and
Okay,
only
perfect,
membership getting in.
okay, very good.
Okay, the other thing is, there's two ways, another decision we need to make, and that's on refunds. Corsizio, oh hush. Corsizio,
Barb said, bring them all on, she'll take care of them all.
Yes.
it's awful. It's awful.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Corsizio offers the option to make the refund themselves. However, Strike will have already paid, charged them that $2.09, or 2.9%, and Corsizio's charged them $1, so they won't get that much back. So we would be needing to explain to people why what they paid and what they get back is two different things.
Right.
Don't they
The
have
other process-
disclosure, don't they help you with the disclosure form on that? That the processing fee, I think they do, in Corsizio.
Probably.
Yeah, I think they have a disclosure form.
I would think so.
When you sign up, if we say, okay, your refund is gonna come back, I think there's a disclosure form that says minus your processing fees.
But how many times do you think you're gonna be having people call and say, wait a minute, I paid $18 for this class and I only got 16 something back. Where's the rest of my money?
Well, when you get it back, it can be just on the check like it is on other checks, minus your processing fees that it took.
I don't know what Corsizio looks like.
Yeah, I don't
what
either,
their-
but I'm just
what their-
saying,
I think it goes straight to your credit card.
Oh, I would imagine. it's just
Yeah, I
credit
think
on
it
your
goes
card.
right back to the
You're gonna get a
credit
check
card.
that says-
It goes back to a credit on your card, and it should be minus the processing fee.
That's right.
Yeah,
So,
I should know that.
Barb, I just wanna go back to what I think you just said a little bit ago. With Corsizio, we should be able, by every purchase, to just code in their 2.9% plus the dollar.
I think, I don't know exactly, because what we need to do is we need to do either, go over to the art club class, and it should say my class fee, my processing fee, it should break it all out to what the total is.
Okay, but what they do, what they've done is increase their classes by $2.
The art
Or
club
$3,
is.
yes, and so nobody is seeing any of that processing fee business.
But their class price is way more consistent than ours. Ours is all over the place. I write checks for people who charge $10. And some of them were like, 45. Why 45? Or 40, or then I have 75, or I have 80, they're all over the
It
place.
just depends on the class that you're taking.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna have 15%.
No, I know, but theirs are fairly consistent price-wise, so they can easily say $2.
I
They
can
can,
set up,
we
I can
can't.
set up a table for Arlie in Excel, so all she has to do is put in the price of the class and we'll add the rest of the stuff. Or
Wonderful.
tell her what to do it, we can make it easy.
Does, Margie's got that Cheshire Catholic on her,
I've
because I
got a
know.
really big question, I think the bigger problem here is when we wanna pay memberships through there, because every membership's gonna get those fees, correct?
Oh, every membership, you're gonna get the 2.9% plus $1 transaction, so now we've gone from,
But it may not be the only option for members.
Yeah, I just still write a check.
I'm
just won't
just
pay the
saying,
fees.
right.
That's another issue. I recognize education is a big issue on the different, and I agree with Barb, there's so many different prices, but I think the processing fee is, to your point, people are used to those. But now, the same thing on membership, that's a whole, because now you're talking about the whole club.
right, and where it's gonna bite us is on the refund side, because if we don't disclose these processing fees on the front side, then they want a refund, and now the refund is minus the transaction fee and the processing fee. We didn't disclose it on the front side. So there's a few more questions, I think. I mean, I'm all for Corsizio, I've been for this for the last 4 years when I was first introduced to it. But I think that we need to figure out how it's gonna work for us.
Okay,
The good news is, memberships are not refunded.
No,
Yeah.
well, the,
Yeah.
So we
I
don't have to
think-
worry about that.
okay, so when
Okay, let's go back to Arlie, she's
Okay,
leading
okay.
again.
the other option is to do what the art club does, and it says classes are non-refundable, period.
Love that.
Okay, and, we
They
can
don't
tell
have-
people,
They don't have $80 classes.
we can
Still.
tell, there's more.
Yeah, those are more.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, just no refunds.
$17.
Unless you bring your hospital thing that you just had a heart
Oh,
attack.
okay, I
On
get it.
medical.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so we can say no refunds, and we can say, but if you can't come to your class, it's absolutely fine for you to find someone who can take your spot, and they can just pay you.
Yeah,
I see this thing as kind of like a convenience, it's convenience fee, you could bring your check in for membership, or if you wanna do it from home and,
Whoa.
it is,
Then we have to start talking about different prices for
Whoa.
I mean, and I think we're just not that far ahead. Membership would be one option with Corsizio, but there are other options, and I don't think, we haven't looked at those, so whether it would be, I mean, really, it's perfect for education, and that's what you want it for.
Right.
It may have some other
Other
applications,
uses
but.
going
Yeah.
forward.
Right.
yes.
Now, but the check thing, I mean, we want everybody to pay through Corsizio, we don't want them to bring a check into here.
No.
Why not? No.
Well, I'm asking.
But I think you're talking about two different things,
Yeah.
you're confusing, are we talking about classes, or are we talking about membership?
We're talking,
Okay,
Let's talk
let's just
classes.
stay with classes,
Classes.
cause that's where this initiated from, is
Okay.
education, so classes. So is there any question in
They could pay either or, can they
using?
not?
how?
I don't know
Well,
how, I'm just
why-
asking.
I
Can
think
they
with
pay-
classes,
No.
we could do totally
We could do-
online sign up.
Why would you need to do online signups?
Why would
Like
you,
that.
why
I know
would you
people
not
who
wanna
don't
pay
use a
online?
computer, and I know people who don't have a charge card.
Well, they certainly can do it here.
A charge card, you're gonna have a thing here so they can charge it.
That's the next.
Okay.
How many people do you know
I
that don't
only
use a
know a
card?
couple, only a couple.
I was gonna say,
Came up
there's
to me
probably
when
less
I was
than
doing
3 members
membership.
I
that
was gonna say.
that don't use a computer. And
You
guess
don't
Use a
what?
card.
When you do membership, you find out a lot of things.
Well, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, please continue. Could you share what the art club did when they first started doing it?
It went crazy.
No, they didn't go crazy.
No,
What
it's
they
easy.
did was they made it as convenient for their members as they could. And they had specific times where people were able to come in and they would help them on their computer to do it.
Right.
And so it helped to ease that transition. I think because our club has done the things we have over the past several years, I think the transition would be,
Yeah.
but I mean, it would be no
Fine.
big deal to have
It'd be
someone
fine.
come here for, you know, a couple hours a day to help find somebody. Arlene would love to do that.
She's got more than
What's
enough
this
time.
about? Volunteering somewhere else?
Someone put your, education, put your name on it, bottom of it.
Yeah, give the rest, do that, yeah. Okay, so we need to decide that.
On the refund thing, are we back to that?
Yeah, I'm all for no refunds,
I'm up for no
except, and
refund.
let them find someone else and then they can deal with each other.
It's gonna be mutiny, it's just gonna be awful.
It's gonna be what?
It's gonna be mutiny if we don't do refunds, I'm telling you. I've been,
kind
good
of
thing they
agree
cut
with
those
Laura.
trees down, I'll be strung up outside.
No, it
I
won't
don't
be
think
if you
so.
announce it up front, I mean, that's
Yeah.
normal, people will not react like that. Well, I'm
Wait,
saying
wait,
normal people.
normal people! Wow!
Wow,
Okay,
they won't
okay,
react
guys,
like that.
guys.
No, I've done it for too many years.
Let's bring it back to order, we're still in session here, so we gotta keep it going, keep it rolling. So we're talking about only education, using only credit cards. People will probably have to assist with that. Anything beyond education, we can have as a separate discussion.
But at least we know that we have the opportunity with Corsizio
Yes.
to do membership with them.
Right,
So that's kind of a plus
Yes.
for Corsizio, I would say.
but we don't need it now.
Yeah, but right now that's kind of a moot point.
Anybody talked to Linda Connell about this one yet? Cause I heard she brought up wild apricot again, which is substantially more expensive than Corsizio.
But I think
There's not overlap.
There's not, but she brought it up, and so I was wondering if anybody talked to her.
I talked to her briefly the other day, she knows we're looking at Corsizio for membership, or not for membership, for education.
Okay.
So, are we really ready to make a decision today, or do we have some more questions that need to be answered before we make a decision?
I don't think I have any questions. I
On the
think,
finance side, I don't have any questions, the only thing I have a statement of, we need to figure out a launch date, and we need to figure out a launch date that coincides with what is that cutoff point we're gonna establish for teachers that we need a W-9, that you're not gonna get paid through our system by like June 1, because we're gonna launch this June 1, and so if you don't have a W-9 and you're not approved, they have to dovetail, those two have to dovetail.
Well, we have to have the W-9s well before any teacher.
Yeah, I was
comes
gonna
in.
say, a teacher can't teach
And I
without
just
a
took a
W-9.
staff
Well-
in this week,
Okay.
but then that brings up other things that we can talk about on the sideline.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with you, we have to make sure.
We
that
need a
those
launch
are
date,
aligned.
so that we know that if you're putting classes in starting June 1, that's our launch date, so we get enough PR time, cause now it's April, to be able to tell club, we're going to this system, and as of June 1, the classes are going to be built into the system, you cannot pay at the club, you're not gonna come and look in the book, you're gonna look on, all that kind of stuff, you have to have a launch date.
Do we have an opportunity to have hands-on testing by a few people, to play with the system?
Yes.
We do. Can I just make a recommendation that we take some time, maybe a group of us who are willing to go in and see what we can do in a test system and how we like it, how you might be able to utilize it, how we add those percentages and extra dollar fees, or if we make it a solid fee, because, to me, that still seems a little, we're not sure what we wanna do there. I just think that if we do some testing and look at what the capabilities are, it would give us a more clear idea of what we want.
So just my thought is you could go ahead and, okay, so we're gonna use a low number. And so we can do whatever we want. There's not gonna be a charge for it. You could go ahead and
I
have it
know.
totally set.
But if,
When I looked into doing that, I've got to get information that I don't ordinarily have access to.
Okay.
So,
And maybe it's a few people who would be willing to do it here in the room.
well, if you're gonna test it all the way through using a credit card, you
can't
should,
do that
2
without
weeks,
signing
2
up
or
for
3
an account.
weeks.
Oh.
Oh, you have to sign up for an account? So how do you test it?
See, there we go.
well, you can sign up and then I think it was 30 days that you just play with it, just make sure it's gonna work for
So
you.
we're allowed for 30 days to play with it and see how it goes. It's a commitment to them. We intend to buy this, but we want a practice period to
Right.
see if it really
Right.
says what.
so if you're gonna
does what we
test
say.
something all the way through to a refund, I would suggest you use a board credit card so that it gets refunded back onto the board card instead of somebody else.
I don't think
Option.
no, I don't think so.
You have to set up an account.
You have to set up an account to do it all the way through?
You have to set up all the bank information, all that kind of
Okay,
stuff, that's
okay.
right.
Okay.
Okay, Lynn, and another thing about from home, that is another test area.
Actually.
It's another
Yeah.
test area.
Maybe it would be good to have Gianna do it from home.
Cause she's leaving in 2 weeks to Illinois.
Yeah. And see
Well,
how
as
it
long as
works.
you have internet access, it shouldn't make any difference.
Yeah, anybody that has internet
Yeah.
can get on it,
So then,
It won't
yeah.
matter where you are.
So,
even unsecured.
So we could all do it by
we
now.
wanna set up a test team?
I know where to find you.
Who here is willing to be part of that team?
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
came from
just-
the farm, whenever I can do
Okay,
it.
so Gemma, you wanna break
So you
these
would
down
just
real
put some
quick?
dummy classes in there and then we would just register and, I mean, it's all
Yeah,
done.
put me down too, only cause I wanna see if I can navigate.
Would really appreciate if you did
How do I
just from
yeah,
that part
the
of it.
finance.
I'm sure Deb, did you raise your hand? Deb?
If you need somebody, I'm fine.
I just asked, where she's writing it
did.
down. Okay, she
Okay.
did not.
So just before.
How do you spell the program?
CORCIS.
No, CSI.
SIZEO. ZIO.
Core and then size, SIZO. Core, size, SIZIO.
Yes.
Precisio.
Yes.
I'm not sure, our club pronounces it Corsizio, so I'm not sure.
Well, of course, they're art club.
Arlie, have you had a lot of stuff in the art club where people were mad about the no refunds? Was that an issue?
Absolutely not an issue, I asked about that. They
Okay,
said, no, it wasn't an issue, it wasn't an issue that they raised the price $3
yeah.
Okay.
for, and then that made a lot of things simpler. If you start talking about paying, people with the,
With a check, oh, I don't need to pay that extra $3.
I
No,
guess.
no, this is it or is.
The way it goes. Okay, so do we have a decision?
I move that we do a test for Corsizio for a month. And with the board and Gianna, and Merle, whoever else is testing, and come back in a month and make our final decision with how everything went.
Okay.
Does that
I second the motion.
sound good?
It does, sounds great to me. All good?
I like that.
And then you'll be leading, getting us together on a certain time and.
I like that, there wasn't an issue with the refunds. Personally, I don't have a problem with refunds. It's like, you make a decision, you do it. And if you can't, oh well, you should have thought a little farther ahead.
And we'll check into that disclaimer too, to see if that comes up before they push the button, yes, so.
It does,
Okay.
it's listed on there, and it says no refunds.
Perfect.
The other. Lost what you were saying.
About the refunds.
Yeah, that we can, we can make it well known that people have to
Yeah,
find somebody to take the slot if they want their money back.
Yeah,
But,
just
we're only dealing with 10, 15, $20, something like that for most classes.
Right.
Yeah, we have the 75 or, but for the most part, it's not gonna be, nobody's gonna be that upset about it. Art clubs, they're doing almost $100, mostly when they sign up for a class.
long as you
too
let
much.
people know ahead of time,
Yeah.
you're good.
That's true. But
I mean, I
also
was in HR for
changes,
25 years. before you
changes
used
the
the
commitment
unions.
level
You're
of,
just
of
good.
the members that are signing up for the classes. So you're
Sure.
actually gonna get people that have a real buy-in to it.
Correct,
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
anything
Alright,
else?
one other little caveat is that the Stripe, I also got in touch with them, and they can do a point of sale if we end up at some point deciding that we want to go to using credit cards out here to sell
POS for
stuff.
sell stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that we
excellent.
would already be established with Stripe, so.
Ooh, I love
Oh,
that.
very good, that's a
So
plus.
that's one other to check into, there may be other,
And, well, they work well with Chase.
yes.
I think that's a
And
done
there's
deal.
no, but see, there was a little weirdness at first, cause they're a Canadian company. And had we not had this performance business account, we would have had to pay the transaction fee
Yeah, that would
based
not
on
have
the Canadian to dollars.
Okay, anything else today?